November 23rd, 2014, it's Sunday Night Football, Giants versus Cowboys. Then, boom, a one-handed catch so ridiculous it defies physics. Instantly, Odell Beckham Jr. becomes a household name. But here's the question, was OBJ actually great, or is he just the NFL's biggest one-hit wonder? Today, we're diving deep into his career, stats, injuries, and legacy to find out the truth. Odell Beckham Jr. entered the league as the 12th overall pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, selected by the New York Giants. Coming out of LSU, OBJ was hyped as an explosive playmaker with elite route running and hands that seemed covered in glue. Scouts predicted a dominant career ahead. In his rookie season, yeah, he delivered. In just 12 games, he put up 91 receptions, 1,305 yards, and 12 touchdowns. His one-handed catch against the Cowboys wasn't just highlight material, it was the defining moment of his career. But was it the peak? From 2014 to 2016, OBJ was on fire. We're talking about 3 straight seasons with at least 90 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler and made second-team All-Pro twice. At this point, he wasn't just a star, he was being mentioned in the same breath as legends. But here's where things start unraveling. Beckham's career average of 13.9 yards per reception? Good, but not legendary. And when you break it down, 575 catches for 7,987 yards in 119 games, that's an average of 4.8 catches for 67.1 yards per game. Respectable, but not elite. His numbers just don't hold up against the best. Let's compare Beckham's prime to some of the true greats. OBJ's first 3 years were amazing, no one denies that. But NFL greatness isn't built in 3 years. If we compare him to Hall of Fame receivers and current elite wideouts, Beckham doesn't measure up. First up, let's talk about the undisputed greatest wide receiver of all time, Jerry Rice. Rice's career wasn't just about a hot 3-year stretch, he was dominant for nearly 2 decades. Let's put OBJ's numbers up against Rice's. Not even close. Rice had nearly 100 more yards per game in his prime and sustained elite production for over a decade. OBJ? His peak lasted about 3 seasons, and then the injuries and drama took over. Maybe comparing OBJ to the GOAT is unfair. Let's compare him to someone more modern, Mike Evans. Evans was drafted in the same year as Beckham, and has been one of the most consistent receivers in the league. While OBJ's career stalled, Evans kept delivering. Evans has had 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons, something Beckham never even came close to. OBJ's talent was flashy, but Evans has been consistent and reliable year after year. If you were drafting a receiver in 2014 and had to pick between Evans and Beckham, in hindsight, there's no debate. And then there's Davante Adams. Like OBJ, Adams had an inconsistent start due to injuries, but unlike OBJ, he adapted, improved, and became a dominant force. Let's compare their numbers. Even in OBJ's best years, Adams outproduced him in touchdowns and receptions. And since 2018, Adams has been on a completely different level, averaging nearly 100 yards per game in multiple seasons. OBJ? Injuries, team hopping, and declining production. OBJ's one-handed catch is legendary. His first 3 seasons, incredible. But when we stack him up against the true greats, Rice, Evans, Adams, it's clear. Beckham wasn't built for long-term greatness. The numbers don't lie. OBJ had an electric start, but injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of sustained production kept him from being one of the all-time greats. He was good, but never truly legendary. The injuries. Man, the injuries. That's where Beckham's career really takes a hit. It started in his rookie season with hamstring issues that cost him 4 games. But it got way worse. The hamstring issue in his rookie season? Not great, but he bounced back. The fractured ankle in 2017? That's where things took a turn. It wasn't just a minor setback. It was a complete break that required surgery. Beckham later admitted that he was never quite the same after that. That injury didn't just end his season, it changed how he played the game. Foot injuries are especially brutal for wide receivers, who rely on explosive cuts, balance, and quick changes in direction. OBJ himself said that he struggled to feel fully confident in his ankle after surgery. But if the ankle fracture was bad, the 2020 ACL tear was worse. In a game against the Bengals, Beckham went down awkwardly while trying to chase a defender after an interception. The diagnosis: a completely torn ACL in his left knee. Season over. ACL injuries are one of the worst things that can happen to a wide receiver. They rob players of their explosiveness, limit their lateral movement, and often lead to a decline in production. Beckham was no exception. Before the ACL tear, he averaged 76 yards per game. After, just 43 yards per game. But then something unexpected happened. OBJ found new life with the Los Angeles Rams. Midway through the 2021 season, he signed with the team and became a key part of their playoff run. And in Super Bowl 56, he was dominating early, catching the first touchdown of the game. It looked like the perfect redemption story until it all came crashing down. In the second quarter, Beckham ran a routine route across the field. No contact, no big hit. And then, boom, his left knee buckled. Another torn ACL, the same knee. The dream was over. Tearing your ACL twice in the same knee? That's almost impossible to recover from, especially for a player whose game is built on speed, agility, and quick cuts. Beckham sat out the entire 2022 season and struggled to find a team willing to take a chance on him at full price. The numbers don't lie. OBJ went from a top-tier, game-changing receiver to a role player who's lucky to break 50 yards in a game. The explosiveness that once defined him, gone. Odell Beckham Jr. had all the talent in the world. He should have been a Hall of Fame receiver. Instead, he became an NFL journeyman. And it wasn't just injuries that ended his dominance. It was OBJ himself. His attitude, ego, and hunger for money over winning fractured relationships with teammates and coaches, forcing him into a career of team hopping that never allowed him to truly shine. When Beckham was putting up 1,300-yard seasons, his personality was entertaining. The viral celebrations, the over-the-top energy, it all seemed part of his superstar persona. But as soon as the numbers started fading, the drama took center stage. And teams don't have patience for a headache when production isn't elite. Let's be real. How many times have we seen Beckham barking at coaches, throwing tantrums, and alienating teammates? In New York, he got frustrated with Eli Manning. In Cleveland, he publicly shaded Baker Mayfield. Even after winning a Super Bowl with the Rams, he wanted more money instead of running it back. OBJ was never content, and that made him impossible to build around. What separates the all-time greats from talented but forgettable players? Priorities. Look at Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, or even Cooper Kupp. They stayed dedicated, built long-term relationships with teams, and became franchise legends. Beckham, he was always focused on the next big payday instead of solidifying his place as a wide receiver one. When the Giants traded OBJ to Cleveland in 2019, it should have been a fresh start. Instead, he refused to show up to voluntary team workouts, clashed with Baker Mayfield, and by 2021, the Browns were so fed up, they released him mid-season. Think about that. A team gave up a first-round pick for him and then decided they were better off without him. That says everything. OBJ had chances. Teams wanted to believe in him, but he never made himself indispensable. When push came to shove, teams realized they could win without him. Sure, he won a Super Bowl with the Rams in 2021, and for a brief moment it looked like the perfect redemption arc. OBJ, back in a big game, proving he could be a champion. He even scored the first touchdown of the Super Bowl, but just like his career, it didn't last. Another torn ACL, his second in the same knee. Beckham's future was already shaky before that, but this injury was the final blow. Since that night, he's been nothing more than a role player. The truth? Odell Beckham Jr. had one of the greatest first 3 seasons in NFL history. But after that, injuries, inconsistency, and drama kept him from reaching the all-time greats. That one-handed catch? Legendary. His career? Good. not great. So what's the final verdict? Was Odell ever truly elite, or is he just a glorified one-hit wonder? Drop your take in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into football's biggest stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay locked in to Behind the Blitz.